I still remember the slam of the front door that night like the whole world locking me out forever. I was 21, standing on the cracked sidewalk in the pouring rain, suitcase at my feet, clothes already soaked through. My stepmother's voice still echoed in my head. "You're behind on rent again, Sophie. We're not your charity case anymore." She didn't even look at me when she tossed my things into the street. No goodbye. No second chance. Just cold rain and the red taillights of her car disappearing around the corner. My father had passed 2 years earlier, leaving debts I never knew about. My stepmother kept the house, kept the money, and now she kept the roof over her own head. I had no one. The rain stung my face like tiny accusations. I dragged the suitcase under the nearest bus shelter. But the shelter closed at midnight. By 2 a.m., I was walking the empty streets, shoes squelching, tears mixing with rainwater. 21 years old and officially homeless. The first week under the old railway bridge was hell. The concrete radiated cold straight into my bones. I curled inside a broken cardboard box I dragged from a dumpster. The smell of mold and urine clinging to my hair. Every passing train made the girders shake above me like the world was about to collapse. I rationed the last granola bar I owned, stomach growling louder than the rain. At night, the fear pressed on my chest, fear of being seen, fear of being forgotten, fear that this was my life now. I whispered to the darkness, "How did I end up here?" But the only answer was the wind howling through the steel. Days blurred into a gray fog of soup kitchens and public bathrooms where I tried to wash the street off my skin. My phone died on day 4. I stopped checking job listings because my clothes smelled too bad for interviews. One freezing afternoon, I stumbled into the public library just to get warm. The librarian didn't kick me out. I used their computer, fingers numb on the keys, and scrolled through the cheapest housing I could find. That's when I saw it. Abandoned 3. Bedroom fixer. Upper. Sold as is for back taxes. $10. Cash only. No viewing. The photos showed a sagging roof and vines swallowing the porch. But it had walls. It had a door with a lock. $10. It felt like a cruel joke from the universe. Or maybe the first kind thing in months. I sold the only thing of value I had, left my mother's old necklace for exactly $10 and bus fare. 2 days later, I was riding a rattling bus 2 hours out of the city. Heart pounding with equal parts hope and terror. When I stepped off at the end of a muddy dirt road, the house looked worse than the pictures. But it was mine. I pushed open the warped front door, and the smell of damp wood and forgotten years wrapped around me. For the first time since the eviction, I cried not from sadness, but from relief. I had a roof. The first 2 weeks were pure survival. I nailed plastic over broken windows, scrubbed floors on my knees until my hands bled, and dragged old mattresses from the shed inside. At night, I sat on the porch steps with one flickering candle, listening to the wind move through the empty rooms, and I almost felt safe. Almost, but the house had secrets. It started while I was tearing down rotten wallpaper in the upstairs hallway. My fingers brushed something soft behind the plaster. A small leather-bound notebook wedged in a narrow gap. I pulled it out, dust floating in the beam of my flashlight. The cover read, "Clara, my story," in faded ink. I sat on the floor right there and opened it. The first entry was dated 3 years ago. Today they threw me out for rent I couldn't pay. Rain soaked everything I owned. I'm 21 and sleeping under a bridge tonight. My hands started shaking. The words were mine. The feelings were mine. Clara described the exact same bridge, the same soup kitchen line, the same moment she found the $10 house listing. Page I right now, evicted, soaked, hopeless. Keep looking for that $10 miracle. Sometimes the house you buy isn't just walls. Sometimes it's a message from someone who walked the same dark road and refused to let you walk it alone. Thank you for listening to my story. If it reached you, share it. Someone out there might be standing in the rain right now, suitcase at their feet, searching for the next page of their own diary. Tell them the ending can still be beautiful, even when it starts with goodbye. After page, she wrote about scraping the floors, patching the leaks, crying alone with a single candle. I keep thinking if someone just like me ever finds this house, maybe they'll read this and know they're not alone. I read until the candle burned low, tears dripping onto the yellowed pages. Every detail matched my life so perfectly it felt like Clara had been watching me. The fear, the hunger, the tiny sparks of hope while hammering nails into these same walls. Then, I reached the final entries. The handwriting grew shaky. I've been sick for months. The doctors say it's the same illness that took our father. I never told you, Sophie. But I've been searching for you since Mom took me and Dad kept you after the divorce. I bought this house cheap on purpose. I paid the taxes just long enough to let it go into delinquency again. I wanted the next desperate girl, the one who would understand exactly how I felt to find her way here. If you're reading this, it's you, my little sister. I left something for you behind the loose brick in the fireplace. My heart stopped. I ran downstairs, flashlight trembling, and pried out the brick. Inside was another envelope, a small stack of papers, and a faded childhood photo of two little girls holding hands, one labeled Clara 8 and the other Sophie 5. The papers were legal documents proving we were sisters. Clara had saved every penny she could in the last months of her life and opened a trust in my name. Enough money to finish repairing the house and start fresh. The final note, written in a trembling hand, said, I never got to hold you again, but I made sure you'd have a home. You were never alone, Sophie. Not really. Live for both of us. I collapsed against the fireplace, sobbing so hard my whole body shook. The girl just like me wasn't a stranger. She was my sister, who had walked through the exact same storm and left the light on for me. She had died alone in this house 3 months after moving in, but she had made sure I would find her words. That night, the wind didn't feel cold anymore. It felt like Clara whispering that I was home. I finished the repairs with her photo taped to the wall, talking to her while I painted. The hidden room became a sunny reading nook filled with her diary and mine. I kept the house. I kept her memory. And every morning when I open the windows and sunlight pours across the floors we both scrubbed with bleeding hands, I know the rain finally stopped. I was 21 when they threw me into the street. 22 when I found the sister I never knew I had. The girl who once slept under a bridge now sleeps in a bed warmed by the courage of the girl who came before me. If you're out there right now, evicted, soaked, hopeless, keep looking for that $10 miracle. Sometimes the house you buy isn't just walls. Sometimes it's a message from someone who walked the same dark road and refused to let you walk it alone. Thank you for listening to my story. If it reached you, share it. Someone out there might be standing in the rain right now, suitcase at their feet, searching for the next page of their own diary. Tell them the ending can still be beautiful, even when it starts with goodbye.